Three, two, one, and a go. Hello and welcome to Dits on YouTube and welcome to Dits on Gaming, part of Project Dits, and we're hitting you with episode 3 of Dits on Gaming, and things are a little bit different today, which is nice, but we'll get into that in a minute. We'll get the plugs out of the way because, you know, you're not here for plugs. This is, of course, part of Project Dits. We've got Dits on Wrestling. We've got Dits on Game. We've got a new podcast coming out called Dits in Pieces. That'll be dropping very shortly. But subscribe to the channel and you'll have access to all of that stuff. But if you're listening to this in audio form, head to whatever podcast application you're using. Hit subscribe. Leave a review. Hit follow. All that good stuff. And then, that's it. That's all my plugs. I'm not even going to give you any more plugs. Let's just get those out of the way. Get the plugs out of the way. Very good episode today. And that's purely because I have somebody with me. For the first time on Dits on Gaming, I'm welcoming a guest. And it only seemed right that I bring in somebody who's also a part of Project Dits by default, because he is my co-host on the Dits on Wrestling podcast. It is Anthony. Hello.
Hi, can you see me? Is it working? Can you tell?
Well, you have a beautiful eye.
Oh, thank you so much. That's what I'm going for. That's the demographic. That's the demographic I'm trying to hit with the video, is the eye appreciation demographic. I'm excited. Little venture off the normal path that we take, especially after we've exhausted ourselves with our fantasy booking on the DOWPOD with GM mode that we did. But we're not here to talk about wrestling today. We're here to talk about something different that kind of just happened organically when we were shooting the shit during an episode, I think.
Yeah, we're like one of the many tangents that we take when we record together.
No, we've never tangented. Never. That doesn't happen.
This is one of the things that came up, and then something else came up which spawned a completely new show, which we'll get to.
Which I have the choice to be a part of, apparently.
Yes, you will be in the debut episode.
I will.
I might as well just quickly plug that. Dits in Pieces, which I've just mentioned in my start thing there. It's going to debut in the coming weeks at some point, and we're going to be talking all things Monty Python, which we realised we had a shared interest when we tangent.
Good things come out of the tangents.
Yeah, people say tangents are bad in these things, but I don't mind them. They lead to good things, like today's episode.
I'm very excited for today. I mean, I'm excited for all of our episodes that we do and everything that we do, but I'm very excited for this today. But off the beaten path.
Yeah, but before we get into the meat of the episode, of course, which it is tradition at this point now that we do a console startup screen because it's the start of the episode. So let's hit people with a little bit of nostalgia because that's always good. And this week I've chosen actually the first console that I ever owned. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So we're gonna hit you with this. The Sega Saturn, ladies and gentlemen.
That's your first console ever.
Yes. I played like the Genesis and stuff, but it was never mine. The Sega Saturn was mine. But I didn't have it for long because then the PS1 came along and then just completely wiped the floor.
I went from Sega Genesis to Nintendo 64 to Sega Dreamcast to PS2.
Ooh, Dreamcast. See, I never got on board with the Dreamcast for some reason.
I think it was my first system ever I know was the Genesis, and I remember debating back and forth. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember my parents saying, like, okay, I believe it was Christmas, it was like, okay, you can pick a system. It was either Nintendo, Super Nintendo, or Sega Genesis. And my brother had a Sega Genesis, but my cousins had a Super Nintendo. And I was very torn. And also throwing in the mix, because I like wrestling, the Royal Rumble video game that was out at this time, The Super Nintendo version had Mr. Perfect in it.
Oh.
But the Sega Genesis version did not. But despite that, and despite my love for Mr. Perfect, I went with The Devil I Knew, which was Sega Genesis, and I don't regret that decision. And yeah, I went from Genesis to 64 to Dreamcast, and I remember I was going to go from Dreamcast to PS1, and that was around the time the PS2 came out, and so I just waited and then went to the PS2.
Was Dreamcast in the same generation as the PS1, or was it PS2 generation?
It was in the same generation as the PS1. Maybe a little before.
Oh. Yeah, I always see it as like a forgotten console.
It is, and that's ironically where all like the 2K games come from. They started. I remember that was what Dreamcast was. I don't remember like Madden or NHL on Dreamcast. I remember NHL 2K. I remember NFL 2K, and I made the jump. I made the switch, and then I wanted to get because my cousin had PS1, and I used to play Tomb Raider on that all the time. And then I remember being like, oh, I'm going to get a PS1. And then it was like, dude, like PS2 comes out in like 2 months or something. And I didn't know that because I was still like a little kid. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll just wait. And then PS2, PS3, PS4, and then I will be PS5 eventually. Such is my journey.
PS5, yeah. That's a whole realm of a discussion.
That is.
But speaking of that, actually, you can go back to episode 1 of this, and I do talk about, has Xbox Series X fallen at the final hurdle before release? Yeah. And of course, there's a lot of PlayStation 5 talk in that, naturally.
Yeah, you've made some shocking statements. Yeah. You are an Xbox guy, but you are suddenly conflicted. Drama. The tease. Oh, no.
I think I'm going to stick with Series X, to be honest. Yeah, I'll probably get a PS5 at some point, though. I'll stick to... I'll actually get 2 consoles this generation, potentially.
Oh, but it's always cool to get, like, the worst one first, so that way you can feel better when you get the better one.
Naturally. Naturally. So today, we are talking about something that is... well, I've actually been playing this game the last couple of days in preparation for this, and I've completely forgotten so much about it, which is great. We're talking about Metal Gear Solid. I love this series. And I know you do. And I know so many other people that also love this series. It is tremendous.
Yeah. I was thinking today, in preparation for this episode, I was trying to rank, because it's hard for me, like, to do, like, my favorite, especially with video games, like, series or games, because I've played a lot in my time, and across different genres and systems and all that stuff, so it's tough for me to pick a single game as my favorite game, or pick a series as my favorite series. But I know for a fact that Metal Gear Solid would be... I could say that that's my favorite series of all time, and I could say that one of the games in that series is my favorite game of all time. It's definitely in that Rolodex. Like, if someone asked me, like, oh, what's your favorite game or game series of all time, there's like 4 or 5 that immediately creep into my head, and Metal Gear Solid, the series, is without a doubt one of them. I love this series. It changed a lot of things for me.
I don't think there... I mean, I think you correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a dud. Like, main timeline Metal Gear. Like, when you branch off to, like, that weird Raiden one they did a couple of years ago. And then they came out, like, post-Kojima, they released another Metal Gear Survival.
Yeah, it was like zombie-based something weird. I'm not... Nope. I am... When I say Metal Gear Solid, I'm talking Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, and Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. I didn't do Ground Zeroes or Peace Walker, which is in between 4 and 5, because they were like small and were just leading you to Phantom Pain. I did not do those, but everything else I've hit. Actually, I haven't ever played Metal Gear Solid. My first Metal Gear ever is Sons of Liberty.
Oh my!
Yeah, I knew
You've never
nothing of the
played the
series.
first.
Nope, I knew nothing of the series. And my cousin had a PS2, and I remember going to his house. He played the demo for Metal Gear Solid 2. The demo is only you start off on the tanker in the beginning, and then it ends right when you get to when you see like the female on the bridge of the ship, and then you find out it's Olga Gorlukovich. It ends there. So it's
Oh
literally
yeah.
just like 15, 20 minutes of gameplay, killing people in the galley, in the kitchen, and all that crap. And my cousin would play it like over and over and over. And he was talking about how amazing it was, how excited he was. But at that point, I was still very much like sports game based. I was Madden and FIFA and NHL, Grand Theft Auto, but I wasn't yet into like games like this. But I thought it looked cool and it intrigued me, but not enough to get me started. And then I went to a year later or so, I went to a friend's house just to hang out and do kid stuff. And I got there, and he like let me in. He went upstairs. He was like, "Oh, hold on, we'll go. Oh, we're going to play hockey down the street." And he was like, "Oh, let me just save my game real quick, and then we'll go." And I was like, "Cool." So he went upstairs. He went to save his game, and he was saving Metal Gear Solid 2. And I was like, "Oh, you're playing Metal Gear Solid 2?" And he was like, "Yeah. Like, do you have it?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "It's the greatest." I remember it's the greatest game I've ever played. And I was like, "Whoa, that's a very big statement." And then after we played hockey, I watched him play some more, and it got me intrigued. And I got it like maybe later that month or something, and I played it about 1,000 times, and I haven't looked back. That's my first one.
I'm sorry. I'm still rocked that you haven't played the original.
I know. The closest I've gotten technically
It's
would
rocked me.
be in Guns of the Patriots, Metal Gear Solid 4. They do like a little part. I remember telling you about it. I don't know if we were talking offline or not, but they give you like you go back to Shadow Moses, and when you get there, it's the top view, PS1 graphics, everything while you're outside. And you have to infiltrate Shadow Moses in the same way that you had to on the PS1. Same PS1 graphics, same everything. And then once you get inside to Shadow Moses, it goes back to current gen graphics and the viewpoints and everything like that in gameplay. So that's the closest I've ever gotten. I know everything
Nice.
that happens in Metal Gear Solid. I know the story. I know the precedent. I read it a ton. I've watched YouTube things of it, but yeah, I've never played it.
Oh, it's an absolute gem. It is an absolute gem. It's in my top 10. I'd say like
Of
to
like
this
single
day,
games
to
ever?
be fair, I played Metal. Yeah, definitely. I've played the first Metal Gear Solid. Well, I say the first Metal Gear Solid I played. Metal Gear Solid 2. However, I completed that such a long time ago that the current playthrough that I'm going on now. I'm like, oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Oh,
I
you're
remember
replaying
like
Metal
the
Gear Solid
bosses.
2? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
I just got to the point where you fight the Harrier. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Which is, I think, I'm going to say about halfway. Maybe. Could be. Haven't played Snake Eater.
That's like my favorite
that is
one.
on. I am really looking forward to play it because I bought the HD
I was gonna say, what are you
collection.
replaying them on?
I was like, so I'm doing it on the Xbox One, but the HD collection was a 360, but backwards compatible.
Yeah.
And Metal Gear Solid 2 was on there. I was like, I'm going to play through that just so I can get familiar with how Metal Gear works. I haven't played a Metal Gear game in this because Phantom Pain is completely different. But the old school kind of feel. I thought I got to go Metal Gear 2 and then go Snake Eater. And I'm really looking forward to Snake Eater. I actually bought it primarily for Snake Eater because I hadn't played it, and I was like, that's worth $7.99. I'll take it. Because so many people rave about it, and I haven't experienced it yet. I want to eat some snake.
You literally do.
Guns of Patriots I never played because I didn't have a PS3.
Yes, PS3.
It was PS3, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't played two of them, and then I've played Phantom Pain. I played Ground Zeroes as well, but Ground Zeroes didn't really count because it's essentially the same.
Yeah.
It's the same game as Phantom Pain, really.
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm gonna change the Snakey. It was really the only one I wouldn't have played is Guns of Patriots, and that's a shame because I've heard a lot of good things about that one as well.
You need to play that one as a Metal Gear Solid fan. You should play it, especially seeing what, I don't want to spoil it for you and what happens, but seeing like the story and where it goes as a Metal Gear Solid fan, you should play it. I mean, it's a good game too. Like as far as gameplay and everything, I've replayed that game 2 or 3 times. I've beaten it, so I think I've beaten it like 4 times, 3 times, something like that. And I've enjoyed it on every playthrough. It's awesome. And then story wise, the cutscenes though are crazy. The cutscenes are like an hour and a half, and there's a lot. So like I would play for like 6. Dude, I'd play for like 6 hours. But I'd only get like 2 hours of like gameplay. Like I'd just be sitting watching cutscenes, but I'd be enthralled. It was like you were playing a movie. It was just so, and there was so much emotion and drama. Like, oh man, it's good. Oh, you're on such an awesome journey. I can't believe you haven't played 3 and 4. Oh man.
I can relate to the cutscene thing because I think it was the Harrier thing actually. The exact bit I'm on. I can't remember what it was. We had to go somewhere. And you can't pause a cutscene. You can skip it, but you don't want to skip because you want to know what's going on. And you're just like,
exactly.
I haven't saved it for fucking 8. And it doesn't like save at the point where you like. It doesn't like reload. Like, we're gonna go straight to the Harrier fight. No, it goes to the last time you phoned Rose and said, "I want to fucking save the game." Like, so you're just like, just hurry up, stop talking. And then you get to the codec bit, but you don't want to be skipping through all the talk. You just want to be listening to it. You're just like, I got places to go.
I have things to do.
It's, but I think the same. I think it was the same with Metal Gear Solid, the original as well. There's so many times you're just like, can I actually just play the game? But you're right, it is so enthralling that you just don't really care. But by the way, if you thankfully we haven't revealed anything big storyline wise, but hashtag spoilers for this whole episode, just in case. If you haven't played any of the Metal Gear Solids, spoiler alert, there may be some. I'm not saying there will be, but there may be some. There might be some that just slip out. Especially the older ones.
Yep.
You had to get one in. You had to get one in.
I can't not
That's
do it.
what she said.
Can't not do it. It's a problem. Not proud of it.
You can't.
No, can't not do it.
It's because of The Office. It's because of Michael Scott. That's what he's done to you.
Exactly. It's what he's done to me. Always
Which will also be an episode of Dits and Pieces.
Oh, man. All these teases.
Yeah.
Teasers left and right.
Oh, my God, yeah. Whew.
That's good booking right there.
It is. Now, I need to get your opinion on something here. Especially with Metal Gear Solid 2 being your first exposure into this series. And I've already got my opinion that I've formed by replaying the game.
Okay.
Your opinions on Raiden hit me.
So, I go into this game...
But especially considering you play a Solid Snake to begin with.
Yes. So, I go into this game watching... My cousin played this demo a million times. Watching my friend... I watched my friend play it. He was also in the tanker scene. That first half. So I knew nothing of Raiden. And all I kept hearing from both my cousin and my friend was how awesome Solid Snake was. Dude, the first Metal Gear, like, he's awesome. Like, he's kind of like Snake Plissken from, like, the Escape from New York and L.A. movies, but he's, like, even better. He's got this bandana. He's, like, this stealthy. He's like James Bond, but, like, way better and more brutal and more tactical, and he's awesome and he's amazing. And I'm like, got it. He sounds like the coolest dude ever. And then I get it, and I'm loving that first half. It was awesome. The tanker, fighting Olga, seeing, like, Ocelot and, like, Liquid Snake as Ocelot and all these things. And then the ship goes down. And I'm like, oh, my God, like, we got to get back at it. I got to, stop Metal Gear Ray and all this. And then the shell part happens, like, 2 years later. I'm like, okay. And then I'm some, like, blonde dude. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, okay, like, I obviously have to play through as this guy for a little bit until I get to be Snake. I saw so much nostalgia and memories with this for me. And so I'm still playing it. And I'm not Snake. We go to a family dinner. on a Saturday night, because we used to do family dinners every Saturday night, and I go to my cousin, who had the game, who the one with the demo, who beat it a bunch of times after he got it, and I was like, yo, question. Because I don't like spoilers for anything. So I'm like, I want to talk about Metal Gear. He's like, oh, did you beat it? And I'm like, no. When do I get to be Snake again? And he's like, oh, you're Raiden? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you don't get to be Snake again. And I was like, but the game is Metal Gear Solid. Like, it's him. And I was him in the first half, and the first game was all him. I want to be Snake. And he's like, you don't get to be Snake. You're Raiden the whole time. And I'm like, well, that fucking sucks. And then he's also like, oh, and also wait till you get to the vampire. And I'm like, okay, now you're like bullshitting me. I'm not going to have to be Raiden the whole time. And there's not a vampire. He's like, no, seriously, there's a vampire, and you're definitely Raiden for the whole rest of the game. He's like, you'll see Snake. You'll see him. He's there under like a different name, but he's there. And I'm like, oh, and then I get to be him. And he's like, no, Anthony, you don't get to be Snake again. It's over. You're Raiden. And I'm like, fuck out of here. So I went through that whole second half waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and fucking waiting to be Solid Snake again, and it never came. And then the game finished, and I was like, oh, I guess he wasn't lying. I didn't get to be Snake. I still don't like that. Metal Gear Solid 2 is, oh, it's so tough because I love all of them. It's probably my second favorite behind Snake Eater. But I didn't enjoy being Raiden. But I thought his storyline was cool. And I thought the game was cool. And it was redeemed for me in Guns of the Patriots with how awesome he was and how amazing his sword was and how bionic he was. And that was cool. So it made me like him more and have an appreciation for him. But I wasn't pleased. I definitely was like, I wasn't rushing through it, but I was definitely like, okay, I gotta go, I gotta finish so I can be Snake again. I want to be Snake again. Especially after how the first part went. Like, I got introduced to this amazing character, and then I get taken down on this ship by Ocelot that's actually liquid, and I'm like, oh, like, gotta fucking get him back, let's get it. And then I'm this, like, and especially, too, the way they lead you in with it, right? Because don't you, if I'm remembering correctly, when the shell part starts, don't you come out of the water all, like, scuba out, and you have a mask on? Like a scuba gear mask.
Yeah.
And then he takes it off.
Just like in the original.
Yes, which I knew. And I'm like, okay, so it's Snake. And then he takes it off, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? And why am I you? I was not pleased. I'm still not. But the game is awesome. But I was not happy. Not happy at all. I'm still not. I'm mad right now thinking about it. Oh, so misleading.
So I remember playing it, like, I think it was such a long time ago when I first played through, and I was like, I was just saying, because I'd gone Metal Gear Solid, so I played a full game with Solid Snake, and I loved that character. And then we had started off with the tank. I was like, here we go, and then went to Raiden. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? But over time, I've completely forgotten, like, who this. I knew people didn't like Raiden. I knew that was the case. And I remember not being a big fan, but I was like, so much time has passed. When I play through it again, I'm curious to see where my opinion will form. And within about 10, 15 minutes of cutscenes, codex, all that stuff, he is a whiny little bitch.
Yes! Yes!
Annoys me so much. He just, and just the way he talks, the way he acts, he's just so, oh, what are you not telling me, Colonel? Shut up.
Rose. Rose. It's so, even the fucking cyborg ninja, that's Olga, is so much better. And I remember being like, oh, like, let me be the fucking cyborg ninja. I don't want to be Raiden anymore. Like, stop it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Snake is totally like, yeah, huh? What? Colonel? And then Raiden's totally like, oh, Colonel. No, Rose, my feelings. Fuck. So misleading. And especially as a new person. And this person is a new person, like, coming to it, all I heard was, like, how amazing this guy is and how amazing this guy is. I'm like, Snake, Snake, Snake. And then I just don't get to be him.
Let me be the main character.
That's all I wanted. And then especially to see him, like, as, like, the tease and see, like...
Oh, yeah.
Skin. I was like, why? Why are you... Fuck, why are you doing this to me? And then Otacon's there, and I'm like, great, so it is Snake. I just get to watch him. I don't get to fucking be him.
Girl.
Girl.
Girl. David Hayter, by the way. What like he has the voice nailed.
I wish he could narrate my life.
Girl.
The DARPA chief.
We need to get him on here.
Meryl. Yeah, oh my god. If we got him on, I would know. Oh my god. DARPA chief. Lolly Lule Low. Oh. Guns of the Patriots. Oh.
What's I'm D. What's a Russian gunship doing here?
Liquid. Squat.
Right on. It's just it sound bites the rest of the episode.
Snake. That's all it is.
There are so many sounds that, and this is like I knew it anyway because you hear it so much in just like random video, like YouTube videos that you watch, or just in pop culture in general. Like just little sounds like the alert that the soldiers make, or even like as you're flicking through the menu, like it's like like all the sounds, like you just hear them in just every, like it's whoever came up with the sound design for Metal Gear Solid deserves some kind of pay rise, or a whole game devoted to him where it's just him going
right, making noises
and oh,
I think that's what's truly. Oh, and that's what even with that though, that was like there were so many things in the game. That was the first time I played a game where I felt like it behaved like real life, and everything was so like. I remember spending time in the tanker part in Sons of Liberty, just shooting the watermelons in the kitchen because you could. And you could never do that in other games. There would be like stuff in the background, but it like wasn't, you couldn't interact with it. Everything in Metal Gear Solid 2, like you interacted with. If you shot a watermelon, it exploded. If I remember just when you would hold up somebody, like point the gun behind their head and they'd stick their hands up. If you shot them in their hand would get bloody, and then like they'd hold their hand and it would shake. Or if you shot them in the knee, like it was like the closest thing to being a realistic game that I'd ever seen. Add in the fact of like the awesome story and the sound effects and the voice acting and the stealth genre. Like it just changed the way like I started looking at video games, and it was so in depth. Like everything in the world you could interact with, and even just like when every time like you would go up a staircase, he wouldn't like glide up like 7 stairs at a time. His foot would hit like each step, and you would hear like the like he was really it was just so much detail. His bandana would blow in the breeze.
Down steps.
He sounded like Stewie Griffin. It was his bandana would like blow in the breeze and like wave. Like there was just so many things that I was like, oh man, like this game is amazing. Even when I had to be fucking riding.
I like the fact that you could see yourself in the mirror.
Oh yeah,
that was rare.
Crazy.
I noticed. I noticed it today. I went into like one of the toilets. And I was just like, oh, I didn't think we were at that point with like game design where you could actually reflect.
Yeah.
In a mirror, because I remember playing like the original Duke Nukem. I was saying that Duke Nukem. I'm pretty sure you can see yourself in the mirror.
Yep, definitely Duke could. Nukem. Yep, you 1,000% could in Duke Nukem.
Oh, I love that game.
I remember playing that with my cousin, dual screen, nonstop. Oh, what a trip down memory lane. Metal Gear Solid 2, great. Duke. I can't believe you never played 3.
I know. It's not like I didn't have the chance because it came out on PS2, so I could have played it because I did have a PS2, and it wasn't obviously PlayStation 3, and then Guns of Patriots came out, and that was an issue because I didn't have a PS3. I had a 360. But I had no excuse with Snake Eater, and I don't know why. I didn't play it. I just don't.
Do you know what happens in it?
Never got around to it. Never bought it. Or the only thing I know is kind of the ending, which is annoying.
What do you think happens? What is it that you know?
Like it kind of ends at a grave site, and it's like a meeting of the big bosses in some way. I don't know how it's linked or anything like that, which I want to keep. I want to keep
So
it that
you don't
way.
know like whose grave are they at or what's going on. You don't know any of that.
No.
The gameplay is amazing in and of itself, but the story is like an emotional roller coaster. That part, like, oh man, oh man. There's so much I want to say right now, but I can't. Oh my goodness!
Don't you ruin it for me.
He fights Godzilla.
Nah,
King Kong is in it.
With Kojima, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
That'd be fair. But then Godzilla takes off his mask and it's really riding underneath. Fucking. That's my favorite one. Snake Eater is like, oh, I spent so many hours back and forth and back and forth. It was hard. It was challenging. It was like, it made sense. The bad guys and the bosses that you fight, the grouping there, the Foxy. Oh man, I don't want to say too much. Oh my god. Oh man.
I need to get through Metal Gear Solid 2. Let's get that out of the way. I don't think I'm that far away from finishing it because the original Metal Gear Solid I did I think you can do that in about 4 hours. If you just kind of know where you're going and all that kind of stuff. So I think Metal Gear Solid 2, I am going everywhere. I'm looking around, picking up all the weapons. So it's probably around the 6-hour mark, and I think I'm 2 hours off that. So I don't think I'm far off entering Snake Eater.
What a journey that's going to be.
And I have 2 weeks off coming up, so hopefully I hit that point.
It's perfect timing.
It's meant to be. It's
so good.
I'm still blown away that you haven't played the first one. I'm still shocked.
I've always thought of like I should play it, even though I know what happens. I should go play it. I should do that.
It's a shame that because you obviously got Metal Gear Solid 2, and then on the GameCube they remade the original. They did it as a Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, and they gave you everything available in Metal Gear Solid 2, but then threw it into Metal Gear Solid. And it's like just being able to play Metal Gear Solid, like using like the first person views and like updated graphics, all that kind of stuff. It was amazing. It's annoying that you don't have that version that you can go back on like the PlayStation Store or something like that and then relive it. So then it's not too retro.
Yeah.
Because when because I wanted to send you the trailer for when we first started talking that we were going to do this episode. I wanted to send you the trailer for the original Metal Gear Solid, but all like the videos on YouTube, nothing is HD. Like it's all terrible quality. It's so bad. Like no, obviously the game graphics are they've aged a lot, but then you also have the fact that YouTube has come a long way since then as well. These uploads like 12, 13 years ago or something like that. Even the ones that are like 8 or 9, like they're still within that square. They haven't expanded to the HD windows of YouTube. So the quality is really bad. So I was just like, I'm not even going to send it to it. But the music is awesome in the Metal Gear Solid trailer. That's actually more or less what I was sending you for, because it is Chef's Kiss.
Chef's Kiss. I knew it. I was waiting for that. I was like, he's going to say Chef's Kiss. I need to go back.
It's a thing. It's a thing now.
It is a thing. Especially with how much I love the series. Like, that's the one that started it off. It's so funny that I feel like I can't wait till you play 3. And even 4. Guns of the Patriots is great. But Snake Eater is my Chef's Kiss for the series. The storyline. Oh my God. The gameplay is good enough. And the realism factor and like healing yourself from injuries and how you take care of yourself and what you need to do and killing stuff and eating it and literally eating snakes and all that stuff. But the storyline, right in the Cold War, Russia, U.S., CIA, secret ops stuff, and then you find out why like Big Boss becomes Big Boss and like how like L'Enfant Terrible like comes. Oh man, there's so many things. I don't want to say too much. Oh,
Oh, I'm excited to play it. I am actually very excited to play it.
it's really.
But Guns of Patriots is unfortunately probably one that is going to get away from me, sadly. But Kojima's a genius.
He's
Like,
great.
when you look at the fact that he directed all of these games, he wrote most of these games. I don't know how much of the actual game design he was involved with, but I imagine quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a shame that Kojima and Konami just kind of went, yeah, we can't work together anymore. It's a massive shame because obviously we look at Metal Gear Survival or whatever the hell that fucking thing was.
No good.
I don't know if there's going to be a Metal Gear Solid 6. And if there
Not
is
with
one,
Kojima.
and it's obviously not Kojima related, you know, it's wrong. It's completely wrong. But he has so many little clever things that are just so mind-blowing when you think about it. Like, I go back to Metal Gear Solid, and you probably know of this because it's very well known. The fact that when you fight Psycho Mantis, to stop him reading your mind, you change controller port from 1 into player 2. Like, little stuff like that was like 1998 or something. Whenever that game came out, 1997 or 98.
Yeah,
Coming out was amazing. And then he upped it with the Twin Snakes version, in that whatever Psycho Mantis was coming out with was based on the games that were saved on your memory card on the GameCube. So if you were playing like Super Smash Bros. Or Super Mario Sunshine or something like that, Psycho Mantis would reference that.
And that's like in the end of, what you get towards the end of Sons of Liberty with the fish and mailed thing, where it makes you think like you died, and the game is like, it makes you feel like your PS2 is jacked up. And I remember my friend being like, you're going to get to a part where it says fish and mailed, don't quit the game. There's nothing wrong. The game is like messing with you. And I was like, what? And then it happened, and I thought it was awesome. That was great. The Psycho Mantis stuff you were talking about is great. There's also a part, minor spoiler, but nothing crazy. There's a part in Snake Eater where one of the bosses you fight, to get to him, you have to go down this stream, and you have to wade through the water. And the souls of all the people you've killed in the game up to that point, like, come at you.
Well, including like the soldiers and stuff?
Exactly. So if you've tranked everybody and you haven't killed them, it lasts like 30 seconds and you're done. But if you killed like a ton of dudes, you're in that stream. Like, I was in that stream for like almost 10 minutes. And then if you get touched by one of like the spirits, they take away like life from you. Like, you can't get touched by them. And I thought even that, I was like, damn, like the game is like keeping track. It was like punishing me, because like this dude tries to get in your head and he talks a bunch of shit. And then it's like, oh my God, I really have to like face all the people that I've killed. And as like a little, I don't know, whatever I was, it's like a 12-year-old. I was like, oh my God, that's heavy. Like, that's a lot to face.
Yeah.
So smart and intuitive.
I kill as well. I don't knock out. I
snapping necks. Oh yeah, I was gonna say the like squish. Yeah, all day. Yeah, all day. It's like Samoa Joe trying to put on the clutch, and I'm just clutch, snap the neck. It's over. He's out.
And then a Metal Gear. Like I actually started off by. On Metal Gear Solid 2, I started off like trying to go the stealth route and using the Trank or the M9 or whatever it is when you eventually find it. That's gone out the window. I'm using Sock'em suppressors and headshots and everything now.
Yes,
like the gloves are off.
Yeah. My favorite thing to do in the beginning was when you first land, when you jump off the George Washington Bridge. That's even cooler too. Like, the game starts off, you jump off the George Washington Bridge, and as a person who lives in New York, and I lived uptown, I lived in the Heights, like I've been across the George Washington Bridge a whole bunch. I see it like all the time, and I lived in viewpoint of it, and seeing them, and I was like, damn, like it was on this game that I played like fucking 12, 13 years ago, and now here I am like living by it, like that's cool. But I remember when you land and you start, like, if you knock dudes out or, like, you trank them or whatever, and then you drag them to the edge of the boat and you dump them over into the water, like, I thought that was, like, the coolest thing. I was like, even that, like, or if we knock somebody out by a locker and you open up the locker and then you'll put, like, their dead or unconscious body in the locker and then shut the locker, like, oh, what a game. What a series. Oh, Kojima. What a series.
Now, before we head into the closing stretches, we have already referenced that Phantom Pain is a lot different from previous versions. So where do you stand with Phantom Pain? Because critically, it was received very well. Like, you got perfect scores in a lot of places, and then like 9s and 8s for the rest. I don't really think I saw a particularly bad review.
I loved it. I thought the gameplay was great. I mean, it's open world, and it was tremendous. The era that it's set in. And then again, on point, the gameplay, the graphics, the stealth, the story. And that's where I slightly draw the line. I loved Phantom Pain. I still go back to it every now and again from time to time, like, and I'll just mess around in the open world. But my problem with it is even though I kind of had a pretty big hint of it in the beginning, the whole time I'm thinking, like, oh, I'm Big Boss. And this is the time that really fucks him up and turns him into Big Boss. Like, everything he goes through in this game that you experience is what leads him to being Big Boss. So I'm going through all this stuff, especially the part where your home base gets infected with that, like, virus or whatever the hell, and you have to, like, go through and kill your own dudes. You have to put your own dudes down, people that you recruited and, like, that they trust you and, like, you've helped. You have to, like, kill them because they're infected with this thing and they're fucked, and you got to put them down. And I'm like, oh my god, like, that's what leads to him being fucked up. He's got to kill his own squad and all these people and everything that he's going through. And then just to find out that it's not Big Boss and I'm just some fucking medic who they gave fucking plastic surgery to look like Big Boss, that takes away a lot of the game for me. Because I thought through this whole thing, I was going through all this formative Big Boss shit, and I didn't. I'm just some fucking guy who they gave plastic surgery to, who I thought, that's what I thought. I was like, no, don't do that to me. But then the game kept going. I was like, there's no way. I'm fucking Big Boss. Nope, I'm not fucking Big Boss. I'm this plastic surgery medic. That sucks. I hate that. But the game was amazing. Even just, like, for you to go to the different points, the way the helicopter would drop you in, how realistic. It was so cool to, like, be sitting there in the helicopter and driving by all the shit, and then the copter would land and you jump out. Like, I loved it. And it was the open world. I didn't know how they were going to do open world because every Metal Gear game has been somewhat, or for the most part, linear. But I loved it. As far as gameplay, it's probably my favorite Metal Gear if we're talking just about the gameplay, and it's hard to argue against it. I mean, it's on the most up-to-date system, and it's a completely different departure. And from my perspective, the better, because it's still stealth, and it's still combat and technical, but it's open world, and was so fun and so awesome. But the fact that I'm not fucking Big Boss was extremely disheartening.
And that could be the thing with Kojima. Like, sometimes he's too ambitious, and it really does affect the story. Because, like, the Metal Gear Solid 2 ending, which is coming up shortly, where everyone kind of goes insane, like Colonel's spouting off loads of crap, and he was like, what is happening here? Like, everyone's just gone mental, the game's just gone completely weird. I can't remember, like, the intricate details of everything that happens, but
it's cool, though. It makes sense. It fits in with your, like, Psycho Mantis tying, like, tapping in your memory card type shit. It's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes it works. But then obviously you have the times where he's going, oh yeah, you just happen to have plastic surgery. 2 thumbs up to you. Like, sometimes he's too ambitious, but you cannot knock the man's genius, because that's exactly what it is. Like, he's knocked every single game out of the park, apart from saying that he wasn't involved with Survival.
No, that's a post Kojima.
He gets a pass. And I think Peace Walker was actually received pretty well, actually, to be fair.
I think that one and Ground Zeroes were both kind of like, I don't think everybody knew they were leading to Phantom Pain, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I don't think he's made a bad thing. Even my biggest gripes with the series would be having to play as Raiden for the second half of Sons of Liberty, and then the plastic surgery medic in Phantom Pain. But other than those two things, and granted those are big things, they're far outweighed by how amazing the series is, how great the story is, how it connects. And you got to think too, like, that story spans decades. It starts in the 70s and it goes through to like the 2009-ish, 10-ish, 11-ish, roughly there. And you've got this game comes out after this game, but it's technically a prequel, even though it's a sequel in the series, and it ties in this way. And you get so many origin stories, and you get to see, like, that's part of what's awesome about Snake Eater too. Like, when you see, like, you find out how Ocelot becomes, like, why he starts using a revolver and why he becomes Revolver Ocelot. Like, it's just so many cool pieces and intricate details. There's so many, like, again, we're wrestling dudes, so we appreciate the art of, like, long-term booking or things that, like, the creative team puts in there for us to appreciate. And I love seeing something, oh man, like, he did this move, that's a callback to when they first fought like a year and a half ago at this first thing, or, you know, I love things like that. And Kojima puts in so many, to your point, so many intricate details in the game that he knows the people who love the game are going to notice and they're going to appreciate. And that's what's just, like, that far outweighs any gripe, any negative thing I have. I have such a appreciation for him and the game series, and you nailed it, like, genius. Like, he was spot on with, like, everything. I got those two gripes, and maybe he got a little too ambitious here and there, which I can definitely agree on that. I mean, Godzilla, who puts Godzilla in a game? Crazy. But no, it was, God, those games were just like, I remember sitting and just being like, oh man, like Metal Gear Solid, the new one comes out in like 10 months. Oh man, and just sitting there and like waiting and trying to figure out how to beat this boss or how to do this. And the story, just everything, man. Such a great series. Fuck.
I'm glad I'm playing through it now, because I'd be like, I need to go back and play a Metal Gear Solid of some description. But I'm glad I'm playing through an older one as well. It's not like I'm just going back to Phantom Pain. I'm actually playing one of the golden years. I say golden years. The whole thing was really a golden year.
Didn't miss.
Not far off Snake Eater. Not far off Snake Eater.
Oh man, I cannot wait till you play Snake Eater.
We'll talk about it, I'm sure.
Story.
We'll end up going to record like the wrestling pod, and we'll just talk for 2 hours about Snake Eater.
Yep,
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Tangents.
We haven't really tangented on this that much.
No,
which is a surprise. It's a surprise, but I guess that's
I am surprised.
Credit to the source material.
I mean, that's, I would say, credit to Metal Gear, credit to Kojima and Konami for keeping us so enthralled and on topic. Granted, we did talk and shoot the shit for like an hour and a half before we started recording tonight, but, you know, we won't count that.
Yeah. Technical issues on my side, which have been apparent throughout this whole recording as well, FYI. So at this point, I don't know if there is a video part of this podcast this week. Who knows? We'll see when it comes to editing this stuff. But thankfully, I have a week before this goes out. We're actually recording this a week in advance rather than the day of or a day before. So I'm actually prepared for this.
They put that work in, a little preparation.
Final question. Give me grabs. Everyone's like, what? Final question.
Huh?
Whose footprints are these? Before I let you go.
Meryl.
Metal Gear Solid movie. Who would you have playing Solid Snake? Like now. Right now. So we're not talking Kurt Russell back in the day. See, I'm now trying to picture his face.
Tom Hardy.
Oh, okay. Part of me was thinking Bradley Cooper for some reason.
Well, Bradley Cooper looks... That's a good one because he looks like him.
Yeah.
I could see him being Snake.
But it's all in the voice, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why I would give it to Hardy.
Girl.
Meryl. Huh?
Huh?
Liquid. Liquid.
Liquid. Liquid.
Commander. Oh. That would be the screen test. Like the actor would walk in and his like there's no line, there's no dialogue, it's just like you just have to say huh.
Huh? Perfect.
Huh? Perfect. Huh? You're out.
Huh? And then all the extras, right? Here's your line. This doesn't make any sense. You really want to say this? Yes. Okay. Whose footprints are these?
What?
What?
What was that? Oh.
Nothing to report.
Oh yeah, that's good.
That's the Metal Gear Solid 2. Nothing
Yep,
here.
1000%. Every time you hear the noise, the little flashlight is on the map. In the top right, you can see where they're looking at you. Yet nothing to report. And I'd be like, oh, there is something to report because I'm going to come out of this locker and I'm going to snap your neck.
Status report.
Oh, status. What's your status?
Every time.
Oh, so many memories.
You need to go back and play.
I 1,000% need. I need to finish Ghost of Tsushima right now, but I am. Ooh, now I feel like I need to go back. I have all my systems. I've kept every system I've ever had.
Ooh.
I almost want to go back all the way and play Sons of Liberty. I almost want to do like a whole replay through.
Is the original on the PlayStation Store?
I don't know.
Ooh. I would check if I was you. If I was you. Because it'll be cheap.
Well, you're not me, so don't tell me what to do.
You can't tell me what to do.
You can't tell me. Huh? What? Garbage. Lolly
low. So that was just a little a revisit of the Metal Gear Solid series, and we could have gone on for hours about that thing.
Oh, dude, if we really broke it down and went game by game, we'd be here. We'd be here for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and I don't think people have the time for that. But we'll probably actually. I'm going to say this. Yeah, we'll probably revisit this once I've finished Snake Eater, and we'll focus on Snake Eater because I am doing occasionally a look back. So 2 weeks ago I did Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is amazing. So then we could do Snake Eater. Next week I'm doing Football Manager with Omega Luke.
Football Manager? You mean Soccer Manager?
Behave.
Soccer Manager is what
Behave.
it is.
Absolutely not.
Not actual football.
American Football Manager.
No, you guys are doing Soccer Manager.
No. Do you get that out there? Football Manager?
What?
Or is it called Soccer Manager?
I don't know what Football Manager is.
So it's just like a management. You are the manager. You deal with like all the tactics, training, wages. Like,
what's it on?
PC.
A game?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's basically
PC
like
and Mac.
So it's almost like being like doing a FIFA franchise and then picking the manager instead of picking the player.
Yeah, but it's very in depth. Very in depth.
That sounds pretty cool. That's my favorite part. Every time I do a FIFA franchise, which is every year because I get FIFA every year, I don't do the player one. I do the manager because I love like the scouting and developing the pipeline and the youth system and setting the roster. I mean, obviously I enjoy playing the game and doing transfers and all that, but I love so do you actually ever play a game or it's all purely behind the scenes, the manager aspect?
All purely behind the scenes, but then on game day you watch the match.
That's
and
pretty cool.
Make subs as the match goes on, change tactics, tweak everything.
That sounds pretty awesome.
You think FIFA that doesn't even scratch the surface when it comes to management. Football Manager is in depth.
That's pretty cool.
That
makes me wanna. I'm gonna look into that. I mean, the title's wrong because again, it's Soccer Manager, but that'd be pretty cool.
I'm sure you guys have it out there in some way.
I saw your tweet for it, and I started looking things up, and I was like, I've never heard of this. I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm just gonna have to listen to the episode and find out. But now I'm excited, even though it's titled wrong.
It's not titled wrong, you.
It's Soccer
American
Manager.
Bastard.
Soccer Manager. Soccer Manager.
Again, it was a tangent.
We
go right at the end. Right, I jinxed us. I'm sorry.
Jinxed us,
Now, before we let you go, Anthony, and get you ready for any future Dits on Wrestling stuff. Plug your stuff, because you also have podcasts and the like. Nothing to do with gaming, but that doesn't matter.
No. I am Anthony, co-host on the DOWPOD, which this is not. There's a little special branch off.
Yeah.
DOWPOD there. Yep. Check the point.
This is the
you can find me. No. Oh, look at that. Clever. Get out. Done. I am Anthony, co-host on the DOWPOD. Also co-host of my own podcast titled Wagons and Warpaths. The reason it's called Wagons and Warpaths is because it is a Buffalo sports talk podcast focusing on the Buffalo Bills, the Wagons, and Buffalo Sabres, the Warpaths, although it has been much more Buffalo Bills than Sabres as of late with everything that's been going on in the COVID world. You can find me on Twitter at Wagons_Warpaths. My podcast is officially sponsored by the Daily Buffalo and officially a contributor to Buffalo Fanatics, both known in the Buffalo social media game, especially for the Bills, content creators and all that type of stuff. I'm very excited to be a part of that. That's happened as of recent. And you can find my pod on Apple iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. Again, the Twitter is Wagons_Warpaths. The podcast is Wagons and Warpaths. I'm Anthony. That's my plugs. And you can find me co-hosting the DOWPOD every week.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. And just a quick note on the DOWPOD. We return... Right, I have to think about this now because we're recording ahead of time. Next week. There you go. And it's a big one. So if you are listening to us and you happen to be a wrestling fan, and I do find that gaming and wrestling kind of go hand in hand, so maybe you are.
A little bit.
Yeah, we're going over Okada and Omega's series of matches in New Japan. I've never watched them before.
Man, what a time for you. You get to see Omega Okada for the first time. You got Snake Eater coming up. Oh, man, what a year. 2020 is looking up for you.
It's improving right towards the end.
A little bit.
But Tiny Tim. I've already got my plugs out of the way at the start of the show, so I will just end things here by just saying thank you for watching if you're on YouTube, or listening if you're on audio. I don't know if this is in video form because I haven't even attempted to edit this monstrosity of technical difficulties yet. But thank you for taking the time out of your day to enjoy this look back at the Metal Gear Solid series. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and if you're listening to this on podcasting applications, then subscribe, review, all that good stuff. We'll be back next week with Omega Luke talking all things Football Manager and video game streaming. But until then, game on.
Soccer Manager.
Whose footprints are these?